Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So I'm going to keep this one really brief, but this is all I've been up to on the Strasburg this week. So uh, the project over here is ongoing, but it is nearing up completion. I did reskin a car to better fit the ballast stopper car. All of this stuff is correct on there. I personally did that along with the D and RGW. Now I know the real thing has a different decal over here. However, I just haven't bothered to actually take that fine of a detail yet, and I know that the other one doesn't have these little outcrops on the side, but you know, it gets the job done. So this is kind of my more fictional like Pensy Railroad Museum route, but basically I've kind of shifted stuff around. I put some stuff that doesn't exist, some stuff that did exist but doesn't exist anymore. And so we have and then just a rearrangement of everything. So you've got the M1, I want to say, the K4, and then the C1, which is a stand-in for the H10. But here we get into the weird stuff. So we got a Pensy Q2. The Pensy Q2 is, was a real engine. The Pensy did make it as a prototype to test out. However, it was scrapped pretty soon after it was built, but I do have the model, so I figured, you know what, it's a fictional kind of Pensy thing anyways, so you know what, I'll throw it in here. For those of you who inevitably will ask me where the hell I got the model, it is a Green Coast Studios model. I did check on their Facebook page. It does appear like you can still buy these models if you message them. I don't know how quick they will be to respond, but you can still get these and all the other models that you see here if you message them. However, it will cost you money. It's not going to be free models. Alright, moving on, we've got the FG1. This is a fictional model. This was never made by the Pensy. This is a K&L Trainz model, and basically this the Pensy way back during World War II needed bigger locomotives than these little 210s that they had, and they needed, you know, something with a little more oomph. So they, you know, leased a N&W Class A locomotive, and then they leased a C&O T1 locomotive. Now, obviously, in history, they chose the T1 locomotive, and they designated it as a J1. But had they gone the other route and chosen the N&W Class A, it would have looked something like this to keep in line with the Pensy, you know, sort of scheme and whatnot. So pretty cool little fictional model there. We got a 210, I forget. Oh, I'm sorry, this is an I1SA. The other one is a what is this? An L1, my mistake. Anyway, so we have this. There is one survivor of this class. It is somewhere up near Buffalo, but I figured, you know what, it's, you know, my fictional Pensy museum, so you know what, all of it's just going to be in one place. Other than that, that exists, just not at the Pensy museum. This was scrapped. None of them are saved. You're probably wondering why the Norfolk and Western J is here. It is currently actually stored on that track there, so I figured I'd just place it there because, you know, the yard over there is kind of getting a little bit crowded. But other than that, nothing much has changed with the Pensy Railroad Museum. I've done some texturing in here for the PBR textures, but not really much has changed in the yard. I'm still working out with some of the kinks, but we're getting there. And then over here, so what I'm about to show you has been my project for the past, I wouldn't say week, but it's really kind of come to life in the last week. This has been my project for quite a few years now, actually, but I've never really had the ability to do it until now. But basically, there are 4 Cocoon cars over here. Now, realistically, there is 1, 2 that are here on the end, then there's a baggage car, and then there's another one, and then another one, and then you have all the freight equipment and the other baggage cars that are used for storage. Now, those are actual cars, and if you go on their website, you can figure out what they were originally. So this has kind of been my project of, well, what would they look like if they were restored, not so much if they were Cocoon things. So I have gone ahead and actually done that, and I give you the Cocoon cars. So first off, we have Bangor and Aroostook number 100. This isn't the actual numbers, but I just kind of made up some numbers as I went along. But it is a Bangor and Aroostook coach. And the names here, I'll kind of explain them. So Brendan Ziegler, he is the Chief Mechanical Officer / Vice President. Usually to have your name on a car means that you were pretty instrumental with the Strasburg Railroad, either, you know, a president, vice president, whatever it is. You were influential to the railroad in some way. So moving on, we got the second Bangor and Aroostook car. This one happens to be number 99. So I chose Kurt Bell. He isn't anything super fancy to do with the railroad, but he is, in my opinion, most famous for being the narrator behind a lot of the trips as a kid that I went to. He would be the voice that you would hear over the loudspeaker in the cars that would explain, you know, everything as you went down the railroad before they automated it all to a pre-recorded message. But so yes, I chose Kurt Bell, probably one of the most influential characters of Strasburg for me personally. He is also a pretty big historian and pretty much knows everything there is to know about the Strasburg and just railroad history in general. So moving on, we got a Rutland smoker coach. Now, it's not a smoker coach anymore. They have a strict zero, smoking policy, but I figured that I would kind of keep it as that designation. And I chose Jim Hager because he is the current president of the railroad. So much like how Len Modinger got his own car, which is the B&O one way over there, I figured I would add him here. And then the last one is the B&O Cafe Lounge car. And it's not to be mistaken with the B&O Lounge car that's already over here. This is a separate one. And for this one, I actually chose my name. Now, I'm not influential to the railroad in any way, but I really wish I was. And this is what I did for myself as kind of like a, because it's fictional anyway, and I made all the rest, so I figured I'd slap my name on it. So there you go. Other than that, really not much has changed in the yard. The only other major change that's gone on recently is way down here at Lehman Place. Just wait for it to render in. So down here at Lehman Place, so you may see Amtrak trains whizzing by, but just bear with them when they do. But basically, I was down here on Sunday, and not actually at the railroad, but just filming a train and trains coming down here, and with an Amtrak train coming up here and around, and I noticed that I couldn't see it until it pretty much got to those box cars and popped over the crest of the hill. And in real life, that is not the case. You can actually see it from all the way down there at the curve. So I embarked on a mission that dug me into a really big can of worms that I didn't want to open, but basically I had to do the entire grade from right about here to all the way down to here's where I stop, but realistically I'd have to edit it all the way down to there. But the grade is far too steep, I guess. It's not really steep, but like you don't get to see the Amtrak train. Like there you can see it kind of coming out, way before it gets to here, which is more prototypical to the actual railroad, whereas before it just kind of doesn't. But I also like to take an opportunity to kind of sidetrack. I did switch out the sounds so they sound more like Amtrak trains, and I did find a Metroliner cab car, so I'll let you listen to it now. But yeah, so that's the one there, and then the other Amtrak train I have going is the Pennsylvania, which is the daily to Chicago. But yeah, so basically the yard here, I remember in the last video I told you that the yard didn't line up with this exactly. And well, part of the reason for that is because I noticed that this is a slightly sloped up grade. And I don't think that's actually, well, I'm sure it is sloped to some extent. It's not nearly as sloped as in the train simulator here. So I tried to redo the grade the best I could, and that was a project and a half. You're basically adjusting, you know, the track spline heights for all of this, and then you got to make sure it's level so that it's not dipping and going upward again. And it's a project, and then you got to re-level it. But as you can see, this right here, this level here is what it used to be. That's actually where the track was before, and as you can see, it's been lowered quite a bit. Kind of crazy. I also switched up the track layout just a little bit to more accurately reflect the thing. I did get the switch wrong here, but other than that, not really much has changed. The one thing I have noticed with the PBR textures is no matter how much I try and adjust them, they still don't play nice, and it's funny because like I'll fix that and they just keep showing up but in random places. So I've kind of given up on the PBR textures at this point. If I can make them work, I can make them work, but basically the PBR textures only work if everything is a PBR texture. The problem is where a PBR texture meets a non-PBR texture, that is where you really have the problems with the textures. But anyway, getting back to the point, my major task for this week was redoing the grade and pretty much Lehman Place in general. It was a huge undertaking. If I had to redo it, honestly, I probably wouldn't. It's not really worth it, but you know, once I set my mind to something, I kind of just do it, regardless of how much of a pain in the butt it's going to be. But that's about it for my changes this week. I hope you enjoy them. I probably won't be having any more huge updates for a little bit, unless I can think of something, but I will let you know. My next project is most likely going to be redoing this pathway to make it more straight to go to right here. And then after that, probably redoing right here. I kind of want to more accurately reflect the cut that comes up to here, so I'll be figuring out how to do that. But those are my two upcoming projects, and I will in the next day or two have the video on how to do those corn splines posted for any of you who actually care about that, because it's a pretty cool video, and if you do have a lower end system, I highly recommend that you do it. However, even with the individual corns, it's still pretty GPU heavy. The route is just in general, so if you have like a system that barely is able to run trains, what I recommend is you either go to your settings and like completely like kill it down to the lowest settings that you can with the lowest render distance that you can, or the better alternative in my opinion, because I like being able to see the route far out, is just delete the corn splines in general. If you must leave something, leave the corn maze, because you know it kind of looked like it's just a random field. But if you really can't run the route, but you really want to run Strasburg, I recommend just going into the you know, route editor or session editor if you want to do it that way, and just get rid of the corn splines. It takes you maybe about an hour, and honestly, it'll make your route run a whole lot smoother. But alright, that's pretty much it for this video. That hits the 15-minute mark, so without further ado, I will end the video, and you may get back to your lives as normal. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!